Behind every Christmas story you hear, there are real people living out the events that took place. Think about what those people felt as God announced his plans.
Elizabeth stood up and stretched, putting her hands on her back. She walked awkwardly over to the door and looked out at the sunshine. Her friend Naomi was beside her and put her arm around her. "Oh, my good friend, I'm too old for this. How did you do it 6 times, even when you were young?" Naomi smiled and said, "Now, my friend, rejoice. God has given you a child, even when you can't see your feet." "Well," said Elizabeth, "I can't forget when Zachariah came home and told me the news. It was more than I could believe." "Tell me again," Naomi said. "I never tire of hearing your story," she insisted, and tugging at Elizabeth's sleeve, brought her over to the bench to sit down. "Well, you know, my husband," said Elizabeth, "had gone to the temple to fulfill his duties with the shift he was assigned. It was his one time in his life to go into the sanctuary and light the altar of incense. All the people were outside waiting and praying for him to complete his task. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord appeared on the right-hand side of the altar of incense. Zachariah was paralyzed with fear. The angel reassured him and said, "Don't worry, Zachariah. God has heard your prayer. Your wife Elizabeth will bear a son, and you will call his name John, and he shall be a messenger for God." Zachariah was stunned. He blurted out, "What do you mean? I'm an old man. My wife's an old woman." Naomi laughed and said, "You mean he really said that to an angel?" Elizabeth said, "He certainly did. And you've never seen anything as odd as when he came home and tried to tell me what had happened with sign language. I still haven't heard the whole story." "Well, Naomi, it's about time for you to go home and take care of your own family. Not that I don't appreciate you helping me get ready for my young cousin's visit. I don't know why Mary wants to come and visit me. Maybe she just wants to see if the news is true. Not that I'm not grateful for her help. I've still got 3 months to go and I'm tired already. Now I know how Sarah felt before Isaac was born." Before long, Mary arrived at that hill country village in Judah and went straight to Zachariah and Elizabeth's house. She entered the courtyard and shouted out, "Elizabeth, I'm here, it's Mary." The minute Elizabeth heard her voice, the baby in her womb jumped for joy. The Holy Spirit filled her and she cried out joyfully, "Blessed are you among women. You're so blessed, and the babe in your womb is also blessed. Who am I that the mother of my Lord should come visit me?" Well, Mary stayed with Elizabeth for 3 months and then went back to her own home. Elizabeth finally had her son. Her friends and neighbors gathered with her to celebrate with Zachariah at the temple. They were grateful that God has shown her that great mercy. And now finally, Zachariah could tell her the whole story.